This
member.
conference will now be recorded.
He has several years in the insurance department, insurance area within different companies. So he is an expert on this. And I'll tell you right now, his information is vital to what we need to know as we are retiring, or if we need to go back and change our retirement profile to make sure that we're optimizing our retirement. We're getting the most out of Social Security as much as we can, as like I said before, we earned. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Tom Daniels.
Tom Waters. Tom, I'm gonna mute everybody and you can unmute yourself, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I think I got everybody. Go ahead. If he's talking, I can't hear him.
I'm unmuted. There we go. So
There you
hopefully
go.
you can hear me now.
I can, so I know they can. Go ahead.
Okay. So let me pull up my presentations. Everybody can see it. And can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Do we need to make it any bigger or anything like that?
I think it looks fine for me.
Yeah, yes, Tom, you might want to full screen your presentation so we can all see it. It's right now it's showing in the application.
Right. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that.
There's in PowerPoint, there is a way to do that. Just put present. It's like one of the tools on top.
May I make a suggestion? On the bottom, there's an icon for slideshow.
Right. Oh, I got that.
It looks like a projection screen.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. All right, so we can see my screen. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. You know, I think the importance of the Knights of Columbus as an organization is gaining more and more importance as the political and social things that are happening in the country become more prevalent. So all of you on this call tonight is a testament to the fact that you're supporting an organization. I think that it's going to have a big impact and potentially, hopefully, a big say in what we're doing. With the new Supreme Knight and all the changes that are going on, it's a pretty exciting time. Art has asked me to speak tonight about Social Security planning and the role it plays in planning for retirement. And I've been with the Knights of Columbus insurance company for about 9 years now. I've been a member of the Knights of Columbus since 1986. I joined when I got out of college in my home in New York, and I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been lucky. I was very lucky. I had a great deal of success early on in my career. I started out as an investment banker on Wall Street and ended up running a number of different insurance companies. And so a couple of years ago, I decided I was going to take it easy after I sold one of the companies I had started. And I was too young to retire. I had kids in school still, and I still had a lot to give back. And I decided it was providential in a way, and that I was looking for something to do. And my sister happened to find an opportunity with the Knights of Columbus that was almost written for my abilities and skill set. And since then, I've never looked back. So what I'd like to do tonight is talk to you about what we're doing and how we do it, so that you can really understand what we're trying to accomplish. This is kind of a commercial, as you may know, for the Knights of Columbus. We've been around since 1882, founded by the blessed Michael McGivney. We've been providing financial protection to our brother members and family members, widows, orphans, since the company was formed. The insurance company was formed in 1886 as a fraternal benefit society under the laws of the state of Connecticut. We currently have about a little bit over $110 billion of insurance in force on our members in the US and Canada. In 2019, we paid about little bit over $419 million in claims to our brother Knights and their family members at a time when they needed it most. We also paid in 2019 close to over $250 million in dividends, that is the earnings of the company that we paid back to our policyholders in the form of dividends. And since 2008, we've given away $1.6 billion in charitable gifts through our various organizations, through the charitable giving arm of the Knights of Columbus corporate, through all of the things that we've done at the council level, at the state level. I mean, it's really truly a remarkable organization when you really boil it down. And it all comes down to the people on this call who participate in our insurance program, because that's the engine that drives the things that we can do from both a spiritual and charitable and from a fraternal point of view, helping families. I know that you guys did an amazing job when you were raising money for people who were impacted by the burn scarred areas of California and all of the natural disasters that have happened. So that's how we do it. We do it through the use of the insurance program. And the guys on the call, I think, are an absolute great representation of the kind of men that are committed to helping all of you on this phone plan for retirement, make sure that you're maximizing the value of your assets to provide the best opportunities for your family. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how we can do that with Social Security. One of the things that we have to think about is that we're all living longer. And at the end of the day, when Social Security was organized back 75 or 80 years ago, almost 80 years ago, the average life expectancy was 65 or 67, and retirement was 65. So you went on claim in Social Security at 65, and the average person passed away at 67. And we had 240 people putting into the system for everyone taking it out. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, longevity and mortality has gone tremendous and has really been a huge driver of this. And so a male age 65 right now, life expectancy for a male at age 65 is age 85, but they have a 25% chance of living to 92. A woman, female, age 65, their life expectancy is 88, and they have a 25% chance of living to 94. Now, here's the rub. A married couple, husband and wife, both age 65, living together and married for a long time, they have a life expectancy of one of the couple of 92 with a 25% chance of living to 97. And so what that means is that all of the rules and all of the things that we have to do in planning for our retirement have to look out and have to take into consideration the increase in longevity that's taking place around the country. And so the idea behind this is, how do you do that? What's the important thing? And for those of you who have seen maybe the Tom Hegna seminar that we did last fall, Tom Hegna is an industry guru who speaks at conferences all over the world. He talks a lot about, longevity planning. He talks a lot about guaranteed lifetime income and retirement income planning. And the key to this is, at the end of the day, if you want to have a good, solid, happy life in retirement, the way to do that is to maximize the amount of lifetime income that's available. And so the best way to do that is through Social Security planning. So Social Security is a foundation for any sound retirement plan. One, it's the biggest asset or largest asset most people have in retirement. Almost 50% of the people in the United States, Social Security makes up more than 50% of their retirement income. And it was not designed to do that. It was designed to be a supplement to the pension plan and to the traditional savings programs that were implemented by companies and by individuals. The other piece about Social Security is it's the best annuity money can buy. So I want you to think of the Social Security Administration as a giant insurance company that sells one product, which is a deferred income annuity. And every dollar that you can increase your Social Security benefit, providing a benefit for you for the rest of your lifetime and potentially for your spouse, is a dollar that you don't have to have saved. So if you can maximize your Social Security by by not claiming it right away and increasing that by $3 or $4 or $5 or $1,000 a month, that means you don't have to have that additional money saved, because that's guaranteed life income that you can't outlive. The other side of that is it may also be, if you maximize the Social Security money, the annuity, and the money you're going to get in a monthly check, you can redirect maybe potentially money that you've saved, right, to cover your income expenses or living in retirement. And you can use that for charitable giving, for life insurance, for legacy planning. The other important part of this whole process is, at the end of the day, when you get to be 65 or 70, one of the greatest risks you face is long-term care expenses, extended care planning. And so if you can increase your Social Security benefit by $300 or $400 a month, and you redirect that savings and that money to provide extended care planning with the Knights of Columbus, that's a really great opportunity and a great way to protect the assets you spent a lifetime in building. The other side of this is that when you collect Social Security, and how you collect it is probably going to be the second or third most important decision you're going to make in retirement, because the difference between filing optimally, which means the best strategy for you and your spouse based on your individual situation, and the worst case can mean as much as $150,000 in retirement. So if you're looking at a $30,000, if you're looking at $150,000 over 30 years, that's $3,000 a year difference in the Social Security amount that you're going to generate. And that can make a huge difference in terms of planning. And so what we're going to try and do is give you some of the basic ideas of how that works. The important thing to also recognize is, for anybody who's planning on retiring shortly, is thinking about this, is maybe in retirement now, our agents, our field agents, the guys on the call today, are really, really good and very talented and knowledgeable about how to help you plan this and optimize and attempt to optimize the amount of Social Security income that you have. So make sure that when you're done, if you have any questions, we'll try to go over them as we can, but also make sure that you make an appointment with these guys, because they can help you immensely. So let's talk a little bit about full retirement. The way the Social Security Administration works is, when you're entitled to a retired worker benefit, it's predicated on two things: the amount of money that you put into the system and when you take it out. So you're entitled to 100% of your, what they call your primary insurance amount, at full retirement. Now, full retirement is predicated on a date of birth. And what you'll see there is a chart. And for the purposes of this discussion, we're going to hone in on anyone born between 1943 and 1954. Because if you're born during that period of time, your full retirement age is 66, which means you get 100% of the benefit available to you from your Social Security record based upon the amount of money you put into the system at age 66. Now, your full retirement age is predicated on date of birth. So anybody born in 1955, their full retirement date would be their 66th birthday plus 2 months. So it goes up every 2 months for every year until age 60. And then after age 60, full retirement becomes 67. And so that's an important date to realize, because that's when you can access your benefits without taking a substantial haircut. And we're going to go over that in a minute. So we're going to assume, for the purposes of this discussion, that full retirement is 66 years of age. Now, for married couples, a simple break-even analysis of trying to figure out how to do this and taking into consideration both you and your spouse's lifespan and your health and all those other issues is really a crapshoot, because you really don't know. And because there are so many different strategies to claim benefits, depending upon whose benefit is higher, who's older, what your age is, there's really, it really becomes, quite the math equation. And so what we've done is we have an access to a program that, if you come to the Knights of Columbus agents and you sit down with them, by giving them some basic information, they can run a report which will show you the best way to claim benefits based upon your individual situation. And so that's an important part and parcel of what we do in helping you plan for your retirement. Now, there's a couple of things you want to think about and consider. Social Security is very complicated. You know, the Social Security rules and regulations are probably larger in terms of words and volumes and pages than the tax code. And we all know how complicated the tax code is. Now, it's very complicated, so one, you have to understand it. Now, the other side of this is when you take Social Security is really a very important part of this, because if you take it in conjunction with taking money out of an IRA, depending upon how you take it and when you take it, it can have impact on your tax liability. It could have impact on, you know, the amount of money you earn, how much you're saving, how much your wife is going to get. So it's really important that you understand that it's really the foundation. The other thing about Social Security that most people don't think about or recognize, it is the only assets class that I'm aware of that is guaranteed to provide you a monthly income and potentially a monthly income for your spouse, and has inflation protection associated with it. So depending upon who has the higher record, let's assume it's you. If you're taking a record and your record is higher than your wife's, your Social Security is guaranteed for your life. When you pass away, your wife has the ability to take a survivor benefit, which is basically your benefit or her benefit, whichever is higher. So if your benefit is higher, you're going to guarantee your benefit for your life, your spouse's life, and every single year that you're getting a benefit after you file, there's a cost of living increase or a cost of living adjustment called a COLA. So maximizing this and planning for this in retirement becomes a really important cornerstone of making sure that you're maximizing the value of the asset stream that you paid into the system. Now, there's a couple of things you want to think about. Why would you not go down and grab the Social Security the day it's available? So you can file for your benefit as early as age 62. However, it's reduced from your primary insurance amount is reduced because you're filing before full retirement date. So if you file at 62, you get less. Now, why would you wait until 66 or potentially to 70? Well, you want to maximize the amount of income you're going to get. You get more money if you wait than if you take it early. You want to increase the amount for your spouse. You want to increase the amount of money that you get every month so that you get the highest maximum value benefit. You're still working. If you take your benefit before full retirement, and you're still earning income, there's a potential that there are going to be reductions in your benefit due to taxes that you get back later on. So if you're still working, now the other side of this is if you're 62 years old and in great health, take no medication, have a really good health situation, and your parents are in their 90s and still alive and living on their own, don't take benefits at 62, because the idea is that you have longevity in your family, and longevity is going to be your friend, because the longer you collect, right, the more you're going to have from Social Security. And by the way, after you live past life expectancy, you're playing with the house's money. Now, why would you go down and collect Social Security when you turn 62? You need the money. There are a lot of people who are currently right in the situation where an extra $1,000 a month at age 62 is going to make a big difference in their financial picture. Or you want to get out. You're willing to trade retirement income for satisfaction. You hate working. You don't want to do it any longer. You decide you're done. You want to spend more time with your wife and your family and grandkids and children. Or if you're not healthy, if you're 62 years old, 5'7", 400 pounds, diabetic, smoke, drink, and your idea of exercise is from the couch to the fridge, take it to the day you turn 62, because you're not going to make life expectancy, which is the break-even point. And once again, by meeting with your agent, they'll be able to provide you with a printout of when your life expectancy is and when you cross over in terms of the benefit between taking it at 62 or 65 or 70. We have spreadsheets that we can show you how to do that. Now, are you collecting early? One of the things you want to talk about. Are you still working? When are you going to retire? Are you working part-time? What's your health like? Is there any longevity in your family? Are you married? Whose benefit is higher? Who can you collect a spousal benefit? What's the age difference between you and your spouse? Do you have young children? All of these questions become important in determining whether or not you should collect your benefits at 62 or at 70 or at 66 or full retirement. Now, let's talk a little bit about the different benefits that you're entitled to. So your retired worker benefit, that's the benefit that you get based upon what you put into the system, how much they withheld in FICA tax, your date of birth, right? And how long you've been collecting and working, okay? So that's what your retired worker benefit, that's triggered by your record. And you can find out what that is at SSA.gov. You go onto SSA.gov, set up a system, and you'll be able to look at what your full retirement amount, your PIA would be at full retirement. Now, the next benefit that's available is a spousal benefit. Now, going into the situation where you have a husband and wife who are retired, and they're both in their late 60s or mid 60s, a spouse is entitled to his or her benefit or 50% of their husband or spouse or their spouse's benefit at full retirement. So if my benefit is $3,000 and my wife's benefit is $1,000, she's entitled to her benefit or 50% of mine when I file. So if I file and on the same time as her, she would get her benefit of $1,000 plus an adjusted spousal of $500, which would equal 50% of mine. And that's where we have a lot of really interesting opportunities to help our members, because a lot of times the spousal benefits are not coordinated with the Social Security Administration because they're not allowed to tell you what to do. They're not allowed to counsel you. They only do what they're told. So if the person going down and filing is not aware of this, then the important thing to recognize, the important thing to recognize is that they're entitled to this and there's an opportunity maybe to get additional money. Now, survivorship benefit. The survivorship benefit means that a husband and wife who are married, when the husband passes away, the spouse is entitled to their own benefit or their spouse's benefit, whichever is higher. So once again, if my benefit is $3,000 at full retirement, my wife is $1,000, she collects the $1,000 plus the adjusted spousal, so she's collecting $1,500. Now, when I pass away, if my benefit is still $3,000, because it's full retirement benefit, she's entitled to drop hers and collect mine. So that's an important consideration. So when you're looking at husband and wife and you're looking at who has a higher benefit, it's usually the best idea is to maximize the value of the higher benefit. Typically, that's the husband in the equation. But there are a lot of families I know of, including my own, because my wife is a cancer specialist, you know, where there are some years where she had a really good income. So her benefit may be a couple of bucks higher than mine. So it all depends on the situation. Once again, that's the reason why you want to go down and have a meeting with your agent, talk about this. Now, there's a little known benefit called a restricted application. And a restricted application allows you, if you qualify, and you have to make sure that you meet the criteria, it allows you, depending upon your situation, to potentially allow your benefits to grow at what they call delayed retirement credits and collect a benefit based on your spouse's record. And we'll go over that in a minute. Now, that's a window that's rapidly closing, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, how much will I receive, right? You know, they always talk about there's no such thing as a risk-free investment. And, you know, we're all going through the training to become registered investment advisors, right, to offer the Knights of Columbus mutual funds. And they stress in the training and in compliance that there's no such thing as a risk-free investment. There is. And it's called Social Security, because you get, for every year that you delay collecting your benefit, past full retirement up until age 70, you get an 8% delayed retirement credit, guaranteed. So your benefit is going to go up 8% per year, guaranteed. And there's no risk associated with that. It's not, it's codified into the system. So you can get an 8% growth if you delay past full retirement on your Social Security, plus a cost of living increase. So for example, if you turned 66 in 2019 and you deferred your benefit until 70, during the calendar year 2020, you would have gotten an 8% increase in your benefit plus a 2% cost of living adjustment. Let's say the cost of living adjustment was 2%. So now your benefit went up by 10%. That's a pretty good deal, particularly because it's a 10% no risk guarantee. It's codified into the system. Not only is that 8% guaranteed for your life, but potentially for the life of your spouse. Now, when you're doing retirement planning, you should really only plan on Social Security being about a 30% replacement of your pre-tax income. So if you decide that you need $10,000 a year in income in retirement to cover your lifestyle and expenses and medical care and all that kind of stuff, you should only plan on getting about 30% of that from Social Security. And when you increase the Social Security, right, you're maximizing the value over your lifetime and probably that of your spouse. So it's just not a situation of, oh, gee, I'm 62, I might as well go down and collect benefits. They're available. It really requires you to really have a thorough understanding of how all these benefits are going to play together in terms of how your income is going to look going out 10, 12, 15, 25 years. And your agent can be really helpful in that. How much am I going to get? Well, how much you get is a function of a lot of things. How much did you earn over your lifetime? How much did you put into the system? The age at which you get your benefits. Because you get more if you wait past full retirement, you get less if you take it before full retirement.
Whether you making
whether your spouse is married, what your survivorship benefit is like, and how well you understand how to use the rules to maximize the benefits. And that's, once again, our agents are trained and they're really good at this. So if you have any questions, right, we're going to try and answer some of them tonight, but make an appointment, go see them, because they can then take your situation and give you some real good advice on your particular situation and how to maximize the benefits. So if you collect at 66, you get 100% of your benefit. Let's assume that that's $1,330. If you collect at 62, they're going to reduce that. And it's going to reduce by about 25%. So there's about a 25% reduction. If you delay it, you're going to get way more money, right? You're going to get 8% a year for the next 4 years. So the difference between collecting at 62 and collecting at 70 is about 75% more money in your monthly paycheck. That's a big difference. So let's talk about that. So you're entitled to 100% of your primary insurance amount as indicated on your statement at SSA.gov. If you collect early, you can collect as early as age 62. If you collected your benefit at 62, you'd get 75% of your benefit. So if your benefit's $1,000, you're going to collect roughly $750. Now that number changes every single month. So between 62 and 66, for the purposes of this illustration, there are 48 separate calculations of what your Social Security benefit would be on a monthly basis. And also, if your spouse is the same age, there's 48 separate calculations for their benefit. So the ability to say to yourself, how I'm going to figure out what I should do and when is really a math equation that's pretty complicated. And that's why we brought the software that allows us to help you do that. So in effect, if you collect at 62 you're going to get 75% of your benefit. If you collect at 62.5, you're going to get 77.5. If you collect at 63.5, you're going to get 83.5, and so forth until 66. And then at 66, you get 100%. Now, if you collect later, if you say, you know what, I'm 66 years old, I got a good gig going, I'm still working, I'm still healthy, I don't need the money, right? It's all good, right? So I don't need the money. Well, every year that I delay past 66, I'm sorry, I get 8% more in my Social Security benefit check monthly. Now that's on top of, or that's in addition to, or in addition to, you get a cost of living increase. So once again, if you delay to 66 and the calendar year 66 to 67, or not calendar year, your birth year, you could potentially, with a 2% increase, have a 10% increase in your benefit. Now that can add up pretty quickly. Now, not only that, but it adds up, and it adds up because it's not only based on your life, but it's potentially available for your spouse as well. If she's going to take your benefit over time because her benefit is less. So that's why it's important you understand it. Now, the other side of this is when you go down to Social Security, they're not going to tell you what to do because they can't. Under the current rules, they're not allowed to guide you on what to do. Now, some offices are better at that than others, right? And it all depends on who the person you get, like anything else. You know, when you go to any agency like that, if you get a good person at the motor vehicles, they're great. If you get a bad person, you're frustrated, right? But on the average, right, you need to know and you need to be aware of what's going on so that you can be as an informed consumer as possible. And that's where meeting with your agent can help you. Now, spousal benefits. A spouse is entitled to 100% of the spousal benefit, which is 50% of yours or hers, right, at full retirement. If a spouse decides to take their spousal benefit early, there's a reduction. Now, for those of you paying attention, the reduction of the spousal benefit is greater than the reduction of your own benefit. If you remember 2 slides ago, it was 75, 80, 87, and 93. Here it's 70, 75, 83, and 92. So if my spousal benefit is $1,000 at full retirement and I collected 62, I'm going to collect that benefit and it's going to be $700. It's going to be a 30% reduction. The other side of this is, and under very limited circumstances can you do this, but most of the time, 99% of the time, when you file and start collecting, you can't go back and refile. So you permanently lock in the lower amount. So it's real important that you understand that unless there's a limited opportunity to change it. So what you want to do is make sure you get this right the first time. Now let's talk a little bit about examples, right? So we have a married couple, John and Jane. John's benefit is $2,200. Jane had a small benefit based upon her work record prior to her starting a family and being a stay-at-home mom and raising their children. So John goes down and retires at 62 and collects his individual benefit. Now his benefit is equal to $2,200 times the reduction, which is 0.75. So his benefit is $1,650. Jane goes down and a month later collects her benefit. John was born in January, Jane was born in February. They're both the same age. She collects $450. Now, that may seem like just what you're doing. However, because of the way the spousal benefits work, Jane is actually entitled to an additional benefit of $350 a month, which will get her closer to the spousal benefit of half of John's at full retirement, less any haircut she's already taken. So if you see a situation, or if you're in a situation where you know you're a family member whose the husband's benefit is $1,650 and the wife's is $500, there's a planning opportunity for them to potentially get an adjusted spousal. Now, once again, a lot of times there's no coordination between your benefit and your husband's because they don't ask the right questions. And so we've seen a lot of that kind of an opportunity. Now, the other side of this, let's go down and talk about John and Jane. Again, John's benefit is $2,200. Jane's benefit is $600. John goes down and he collects at 66 of $2,200. Jane went down and collected her benefit of $450 at 62. As soon as John collects, when he turns 66 and turns on his benefit, his spouse is entitled to an adjusted spousal, and that adjusted spousal is now $500. That's because of the way the spousal benefits work in terms of collecting 50% of their husband's or their own, whichever is higher. Now, once again, this is all complicated stuff, but there are lots of opportunities potentially for you and your family members, right, to maybe take advantage of this, or to plan on this when you're looking at, hey, I'm turning 62 next year. When should I go? What should I do? It's all kind of an important part of how you look at this. Now, let's talk a little bit about this thing called the restricted application. And that's a little known clause in the benefits. So John goes down and collects his individual benefit at 66 years of age. But because his wife and he are the same age, now I've changed her benefit to be a little bit higher. Her benefit is now $1,400. But because they qualify for restricted application, Jane can go down and file a restricted application for half of his, which is $1,100. And her benefit will roll up at 8% per year until age 70, so that when she turns 78, she's earning $1,850 without cost of living increases. So that's a little known benefit available to people, and I'm going to tell you how you qualify for that in a minute. So important things to know about how all this works. Spousal benefits do not earn delayed retirement credits. So the spousal benefit is not available to grow past full retirement. It will never be higher than 50% of your spouse's benefit, or yours, whichever is higher. Only one member can receive a spousal benefit at any given time. Once you've opened your own record, you cannot collect a spousal record on someone else unless it's bigger than your own. And you must be married for at least 1 year, full year. So 366 days, a year and a day, in order to qualify for a spousal benefit. Now, all of these changes came about through the bipartisan budget bill. Now, there used to be that some of you on the call may be old enough or may have been part of this, where there was a provision called file and suspend. Well, they eliminated that, but they allowed the restricted application to still exist. So the restricted application is the old file and suspend provision, but it's being grandfathered and it's got a sunset clause. So in order to file a restricted application, you must have turned 62 prior to January 2nd, 2016. So you must have a date of birth in 1952 or 53. So, for example, the holy grail of these kinds of opportunities is anybody who was born in 52 or 53 who either is not collecting or their spouse is not collecting. There's an opportunity potentially to find additional money, and your agent can help you with that. In order to file for restricted application, you or your spouse, you must be married. Your spouse must have reached full retirement age. Your DOB must be before January 1st, 1954, and you and your spouse have to both collect at the same time. However, if you do qualify for the restricted application, it can be a substantial amount of money. And I'll give you an example. We had a client in Chicago who called the agent and wanted to do some charitable giving and charitable planning. They were a couple with no children. And he was 67, she was 67. He retired from a corporate job and was collecting benefits because his advisor at Citibank told him to. His wife was not collecting. She was deferring until 70 because she was still working a little bit part-time doing real estate closing. She was an attorney. And we looked at it. We actually told him, no, you're leaving money on the table. And we were able to generate about $1,200 a month extra until his wife turned 70, which was 2.5 years. So there is a real opportunity for this if you fit the bill. Now, what is it we really want to do here at the Knights of Columbus, and what are we trying to help you with? What we're trying to do is help you look and really establish a financial goal, maximize retirement income, right? Build wealth. The idea behind all of this is, the agent in the old days, and I believe me, I've been in the Knights since 1986 when Reagan was in the office. Everybody dreads the idea of the Knights of Columbus agent coming over. Oh, no, here comes the insurance guy. And that's not what we're about. We're really about helping you build goals, helping you build wealth, and helping you look at managing the risks that you face going into retirement as you accumulate, and helping you manage the risk of all of the assets that you've inherited. If you're 67 and had a pretty good career and are ready and now retired, and you've got your home, you've got a 401k, you've got a pension, you've got Social Security, you've got some money in the bank, how are you going to manage all the risks? There's a lot of risk associated with that. There's longevity risk. There's withdrawal rate risk from your IRA. There's extended care risk. At 67 years old, 7 out of 10 people are going to need long-term care in some form. We have the best product in the entire life insurance industry, or entire insurance industry, to solve your extended care risk needs. So we're not here to just talk about life insurance. We're here to help you solve problems. So with that, I'd like to kind of go, there's a couple of questions in the chat room. Okay, well, there are no questions. So what I'd like to do is open it up to see if there's any questions from anybody. And then if not, we can, I can thank you very much for your time, and we can get on with your evening.
I want to thank you personally, Tom, for your presentation. It was
All right, I
really
see you're talking. Any questions?
I have one question. This is Frank Martinez in Vacaville. I've heard lots of stories about in 2037, Social Security is going to run out of benefits. Can you speak to that?
Any questions at all? Anybody want to share? I don't know if I lost you or whether I'm.
excuse
I
me,
had
Tom,
one question.
There was a question from Frank Martinez.
Okay,
Frank,
well, I don't know that if nobody has any questions, all right, are we, can you unmute? We
can you hear me, Frank?
There was
Yes, I can.
Okay, can you hear me, Tom? Tom, can you hear me? Hello, Tom? Art? Okay, everybody, Tom, I guess we can't hear you right now. Can anybody hear me right now? If anybody can hear me, say yes, please.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tom, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear somebody talking, and my brother Frank Martinez had a question about Social Security running out of money in 2037 and wanted your thoughts on that. Hello?
So let's table that. Frank, I'll find that out for you with Tom. It seems like Tom might be having some technical difficulties.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Okay, so I will find that out. Does anybody else have any questions out there?
I do. Hear me?
Yes. Yes,
You can hear me? Oh, wonderful.
I can hear you. Yes.
You keep the word spouse. Now, the way I understood it years ago, it may have changed, but if the wife predeceases the husband, is he entitled to half of her Social Security?
That particular situation, you are going to have to work with Social Security on that. There has been issues I know from that for sure, but I'm sure they fixed that up. Right now, as I know of that, and what I'll do is I can't answer that question concretely because there has been changes. So I will go ahead and write that down. And this is Brother Richard Roman, right?
Yes.
Okay, I will find out for you. So that's basically the premise of tonight. If we don't know it, we're going to find out for you, okay?
Great,
Hey,
thank you very much.
Art, I have a easy one for you. One of my-
Art, can you hear me okay?
Okay, Tom,
I can't hear anybody. I don't know if everybody's been muted or what the issue is.
Tom, can you hear me now? Tom, can you hear me now? Okay, so, and then Frank has one about 2037. Anybody else have a question? I heard an easy question was coming, so what's
Hey,
that?
Art, I had a question. One of my grandnights wants to know whether this was going to be recorded, and it looks like it is. How do they access it?
I will get that to you, Brother Lewis. Brother District Deputy has recorded it, and then we will work together, and anybody who wants to have a copy of the recording, please let your and Hank, Brother Howard, if you do have, I'm assuming that was you.
Yeah.
I will work a copy offline and I'll get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have another question. How do we, where'd it go?
Art, I don't know what's going on. Something happened to the phone line where it's not allowing me to hear you guys.
Your arm, your whole body. Your whole
I'm
body.
hearing a lot of.
Please mute your mic when you're asking a question.
Tom, I will take down the questions and then I will get back to you and then we can. Okay.
I thought the moderator had muted everybody. It's so hard to understand anything that's going on. This is Glenn Lobo. It's so hard. There's so much background noise. Can we mute everybody so we can understand what's happening?
That's what we're trying to do. And
All right.
we cannot mute anybody. What's going on?
Mike's having a problem. I get that spinning wheel. It won't let me do anything. So I don't know what to do.
Okay, we're just gonna take down questions and I'll get everybody back answers, okay? So if everybody can hear me, if you can chat down your questions. We're trying to fix this technical issue, unfortunately, but I do see some chats out there. I will get back, we're gonna record these and get these to our resources. If we don't know them, like I said, we're gonna get them back. We're gonna get answers to
Hey,
you.
Art, I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me though?
For some reason, my phone is dead. I'm just gonna jump off.
I can hear you.
Hold on one
Tom,
second.
we can hear you. Tom, are you there? I think we lost him.
Okay, Tom, so can you guys hear me? So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask the question to Tom through the telephone and I'll repeat it back to you, okay?
Okay.
I don't either. So the first question was, Tom, and can everybody still hear me, right? The first question was, if the spouse is deceased before the brother, do they still can take advantage of the same strategy of amounts of Social Security they can take? Okay.
Survivorship, which is 50% or 100% of their husband's benefit or their own benefit, or they can do, and the software we have shows the maximization or how to maximize the value when husband or wife passes away. So make sure that if that's the situation, contact your agent. We can help you with that.
Okay, can you guys still hear me? I'm putting my phone on speaker so everybody can hear, okay? The next question was from Frank Martinez. There is some public articles stating that Social Security is going to end at 2037. Do you have anything to think about that? Anything to say about that?
Well, you know, when I joined the workforce in 1982, Social Security was in bad shape then, and the government got together and passed a couple of bills. They changed retirement dates. They pushed it out to 67. So there are a number of different ways that can effectively keep Social Security solvent forever. One of the issues is that they would go and eventually, right now, they cap the amount of money that is taxed for Social Security at $143,000. Right now, they're thinking about doing away with that, so that every dollar you earn is subject to a FICA tax, which would have a big impact. The other side is that there's some opportunity to do means testing. There's opportunities to push retirement dates out to 68 or 69. So there's a lot of different programs. You know, all of it is political, but I can assure you that in my opinion, it's clearly my opinion, I think they'll solve the Social Security issue sooner rather than later.
Okay, Frank, does that answer your question? Is he still out there? Okay. All right, the next question is, can you discuss the rep and reductions regarding public pensions?
Yeah, if you have a pension with a public entity like the California Teachers Retirement, the California, Police and Fire, the Railroad Retirement, what happens is if you have a Social Security benefit and a public pension or pension that's in addition to your Social Security, what they do is they have this thing called windfall elimination provision, and they reduce your benefit based upon a calculation and formula. And so, effectively, let's say you have a pension of $4,000 a month with California Teachers, and you have Social Security of $1,500. What'll happen is they'll go in and they'll look at the two, they'll do an analysis, and then they'll reduce your Social Security benefit by some percentage of what you're getting from your other pension. Now, sometimes, if depending upon what happens, it could be a small reduction for a couple $100. It could eliminate the entire amount. It's all dependent upon how much your pension is, how long you paid into it, and how much your Social Security benefit is. But once again, the analysis that helps you what that's going to look like can be done by our agents with the Social Security planning software.
Okay, thank you for that, Tom. Next question is, can benefit elections be changed if you are losing money?
No.
Okay. Next question. How can we increase contribution? Do we add to our employer or reach out to our field agent?
You can't increase your contribution to Social Security. Social Security is set by the amount is set by statute by a tax piece. So you can't. It is what it is. So you can't increase the amount you contribute to Social Security.
Okay, that was my last question. Does anybody else have any questions? Either by chat?
I don't know what happened, guys. I really apologize because I was talking and I think it went well all the way up until the questions, right?
Yeah, don't worry. No apologies necessary. We went to the questions. We got the questions. I'm giving everybody a last chance for questions to our expert here for Social Security. Okay, Tom, I'd like to thank you on behalf of everyone that was on the line tonight, and to let you know that this is very informative. And I want to make sure that we thank you. And Father Agnell, can you actually do a closing prayer for us? Unmute yourself, please.
No, it's not going to work.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Amen.
God bless us all and keep us in good health in mind and body. Amen.
Father. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Amen.
Nice to see all of you guys. Glenn, good to see you. Every one of you. Mike was there, gone, isn't he?
Thank
So
you,
if you could reach out to us, field agents, you guys have our numbers. We have answers for you if you guys have any more questions. With that, I'm going to say good night, you guys, and God bless.
Thank you
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Yeah, or you got to learn how to say touchdown Raiders.
Yeah, I heard that, Larry. Wait till the season starts.
God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, something showed up on the screen and I stopped it, right? And then you know that spinning wheel thing, it won't let me do anything. So I couldn't even unmute myself. I don't know what was going on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad it happened at the questions.
That's okay, we worked through it. Tom called me on the phone and I just put the speaker on.
Yeah, I'm glad that it happened during the questions and not during the.
Tom's calling. Let me call you.
Okay, all right.